Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Checking in on the cryptocurrency space, so we had a very tight range as shown here with 3 daily inside bars in a row. They broke bearish. Now we're back testing daily exponential support. So short term, it's a clear bear break. The bear's coming out on top from that equilibrium on the 4-hour. We'll look at that in just a second. But bigger picture on the daily time frame, this is still just fine for the bulls. We knew daily consolidation was due after such a strong move to the upside. The S&P 500 has been bouncing. Again, not trying to overplay the inverse correlation between the two, but definitely keeping an eye on it because it has been a narrative that's been spun more in the last 2 weeks than in the last 2 months. So keeping an eye on that fact, but what I'm watching is, can the bulls hold the daily exponential supports? And I'm looking at both of them, the 12 and the 26 period, because if the answer is yes, then the bulls keep full control. Remember, the burden of proof on pretty much every time frame is on the bears. The weekly time frame, still holding exponential support, bulls just fine. Daily time frame, still clearly in an uptrend. What I'm looking for is the size of the pullback and the size of the volume on this pullback. Because if we pull back and we lose the exponential supports, then an equilibrium and tightening range will be the most likely scenario. Whereas if the bulls can hold those exponential moving averages and then try and see continuation, that continuation is a much higher probability if the exponential moving averages hold. So for me, it's just a visual guide. Hold that level, continuation entirely possible. Lose that level, tightening range most likely. If we lose the daily uptrend headed into next week, let's say we pull back, set a support level, we try and break 12,300 and fail, and then we drop down. If we lose the daily uptrend, then a weekly equilibrium will be in play. And right now, the weekly candlestick looks like that may be a possible scenario, and I would just be looking at the high, the low of consolidation, lower high, and we'd look to come back down and test the weekly exponential supports if we lose the daily uptrend. So, first things first, most important thing, is the daily consolidation going to hold exponential supports? If not, increases the odds that the daily uptrend could be lost. And then if the daily uptrend is lost, weekly tightening range. ETH, clear bearish action. 197 support is still holding, but that's it. 197 and 190.11. Again, we're watching the ETH BTC chart, which is just falling off a cliff to daily RSI in the teens. The weekly chart there confirmed its bear flag, dropping to lower lows, which is why it is entirely possible that the ETH USD chart could see the same weekly bear flag drop to lower lows. All depends on what the consolidation looks like. Chart just froze, but all depends on what the consolidation for Bitcoin looks like. And here on Coinbase, again, the Bitcoin pairing for Ethereum, bear flag and continuation down. And this is now the lowest price that Ethereum has been compared to Bitcoin since I've ever been in the cryptocurrency space. We're looking back to March 2017 for the last time it was this low. Again, that is extremely notable. Litecoin broke 83.27 support, so the only level left is 76.63. Again, the weekly chart for the LTC BTC setup. Not sure why the trading view doesn't want to go to the weekly. There we go. So weekly bear flag on LTC BTC confirmed. LTC USD, weekly bear flag setup, hasn't confirmed yet, but we're absolutely watching it. We are getting a little bit of a bounce on the LTC BTC chart on the daily. Oversold bounce underway. We're no longer oversold on the daily. And we know that we're just likely to form a lower high. Again, I'm watching for the daily trend change. It reminds me so much of the marijuana sector. Right now, we've been watching the major Canadian marijuana sector. In the last 4 months, there has not been a daily higher low and higher high. And it's been so clear. There's no fake outs, no nothing. And I'm watching the same thing. We have to change the daily trend in order to see any momentum shift. Otherwise, every bounce is just a lower high that bears look to pile into for further gains to the downside. So still definitely watching altcoins. I'm not holding out for any kind of altcoin season. All I care about is if the Litecoin and Ethereum charts that are paired to Bitcoin change the daily trends. Until that happens, I don't care what they're doing. I'm focused on Bitcoin. If that does happen, then I will look to those other names a bit more seriously. Checking in on XRP. So XRP broke the low of 29.88. 282 is the next support level and the only support level left. So like Litecoin, it has broken one of its 2 remaining supports. Never got over daily exponential resistances. Weekly time frame, close to confirming a bear flag drop to lower lows. And the bulls are proving nothing here. XRP bears keeping control. Binance had that beautiful break of the equilibrium to the upside. Now we're pulling back on low bear volume, and anything above 2708 will be a higher low on the daily chart. So we have a daily uptrend now with higher lows and higher highs. We zoom out to the weekly chart, and anything under 3260 is just a weekly lower high. So that's the most important resistance level for me. If the bulls can see continuation over 3188, 3260 will be right there. And if we lose the daily uptrend, we zoom out to the weekly, because a weekly tightening range will be coming, similar to the potential of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin loses the daily uptrend, a weekly tightening range will be coming there as well. And last, we'll look at Link here, because Link does have a daily higher low established at 213. So $2 was support. We held 213, and now the bulls need to make their way up over 276 and 284 to see a convincing trend change on the daily. Again, watching this head and shoulders pattern, bulls need a couple green days in a row here and to break those resistance levels. Otherwise, bears keep comfortable. Burden of proof on a lot of these names is on the bulls. Burden of proof is on the bears for Bitcoin and Binance. Bitcoin and Binance are clearly the strongest daily time frames right now. Ethereum is holding on a bit better than Litecoin, just because it does still have one of those support, or I should say two of those daily support levels left. Litecoin had already broken this level here. So if I had to rank them, Bitcoin strongest daily chart, then Binance, then Ethereum, and then everybody else lumped together as weak and looking down at their recent lows. Burden of proof on the bulls for everybody, from ETH, BTC over. Burden of proof on the bears, or I should say for Ethereum over. Burden of proof on the bears for Bitcoin and Binance. So for me, what am I looking to do here? I'm all cash, patiently waiting. Bears' clear signal for an entry was a bear break of 11,651. We dropped down to 11,170. So again, not monster gains, but certainly enough to be worthwhile for a trade for the bears. And that percentage-wise, we're looking at about 4% or so. So nothing huge, which is why the bears aren't convincingly on the daily time frame doing much. If we drop down another leg, the 4-hour RSI will be in the mid-30s and starting to approach the low 30s. I'm watching the 11,000 psychological level, because pretty much if we lose 11,000 from where we stand, if we lose 11,000 heading into tomorrow, then the 4-hour RSI will be getting oversold. I'll be looking to play a 4-hour oversold bounce. It'll be the first 4-hour oversold conditions since the double bottom at 9,000. Or really since the first time we hit 9,000 before the double bottom. So it would be notable if that did occur. Otherwise, right now, the short-term bounce that's trying to take place, we're not even testing the hourly exponential resistance yet. The bulls have their hands full, rejecting from the 15-minute exponential resistances time and time again. So bulls can be looking to scale in for a daily higher low here. I wasn't around for the hourly oversold conditions. Probably would have made an entry attempt there. But at this point, watching for the potential of 4-hour oversold conditions. If we bounce anything under 11,970 is just a 4-hour lower high, and we have to change the 4-hour trend back to the bulls for us to say that our daily higher low has been established. Until we change the 4-hour trend, daily consolidation still underway as far as I'm concerned. So that's my game plan, either patiently waiting for a test of 11,000 or potentially, right now all day I've had orders under 11,000 in case we were to flush down quickly while I was not watching. But pretty much watching for either a break of 11,000 to 4-hour oversold conditions or a 4-hour trend change back to the bulls. If the bulls are going to change the 4-hour trend back in their favor, it's not going to happen anytime soon. It'll probably take a day or two for that to develop. So just patiently waiting, and that's that. I appreciate you watching. Do good things out there. Had a close call with the ducks the other day, sitting by a tree about 30 feet from the pond, talking with a friend. Ducks were all laying in the grass on the edge of the pond, napping, and the hawk came out of nowhere silently. And it wasn't an easy dive because they were under a tree. So the hawk had to come in at an angle. And the hawk tried to grab one of them and just do a smash and grab one and fly away. But these ducks are way too big. That's not going to happen. He got one claw on one duck. But the hawk wasn't going to stop and try and kill the duck, which is the only way it would ever get a duck. It would have to stop. So wondering if he's going to realize that, or wondering if me jumping up to my feet maybe adjusted the hawk's game plan. Either way, it was a wake-up call for the ducks to stay on their webbed toes. But fortunately, everybody was all right. So we'll see you tomorrow, potentially, if something happens. Otherwise, just going to be patiently waiting for those two conditions that I laid out. Thanks again. See you soon.
Hey guys, could you not do that to my plants, please? Hey guys.